So, living in the Pacific Northwest, we're both blessed and challenged with all kinds of weather. Living on the coast, you know, we got all kinds of systems moving off the ocean, and it creates a lot of challenges for flying, that's for sure. But I think that's a blessing as well, especially in the flight training that we do. The students that come here from all different parts of the world, they get to experience stuff that a lot of people wouldn't ever get to experience. And so flying in this weather is a really great thing. But I think we need to use as many tools as we can to try and keep ourselves safe. So one of the apps that I absolutely love to use is windy.com. Let's jump over there and take a look. So some of my favorite features here on Windy is to be able to jump in. I'm a very graphical person, so to be able to jump into something that's a map and it just shows everything graphically and it's all in one place is just a really beautiful thing. A lot of the time when you're making a decision to go flying, when you're still sitting in the hangar or just looking out the window, it's easy to make that call at that point. We can look at a couple examples of why we wouldn't go flying right now. And so if I jump in here, I'm going to look at the rain and snow, and you can see that the whole area here is covered in snow right now. And it's showing over the next 12 hours how much snow accumulation we're going to get. And I can just pan this around a little bit. Looks like we're going to get about 1 to 2 centimeters over the next 12 hours. So that's a fair bit. So right now it is snowing, as you guys can see, but if I jump in here, the most worrisome part is when I go to temperature. So I can see that right now here in Abbotsford it's about 1 degree, and then if I go slightly further out towards Chilliwack it's 0 degrees. If I were to climb up at all, get to 500 feet or 1,000 feet, it would probably get around to 0 degrees again. And so we're right in that temperature range where it's super dangerous to go flying, where you can get icing on your blades. So we want to make sure that we're avoiding that. So that's kind of the #1 reason why I wouldn't go flying at this point. But looking at that is really fantastic. And I can also jump in here and see what kind of winds we have. I always like to hit wind gusts, kind of shows me the worst possibility of what the winds are going to be in different areas. So again, I can look at about 9-10 knots in Abbotsford as I get out further towards Chilliwack, 12-14, it gets a little bit stronger as I get towards Hope, about 23 knots in Hope. And again, it's very graphical. As you can see, if I go up here where the color's darker, it starts showing that the winds are much stronger up in the 30 knot range. And then down in Abbotsford is kind of the calmest area that we have around here. A little bit stronger as you get out over the ocean here as well. Again, 30 knots. Okay, so one of the things that I really love here is I can jump into a route. So I'm going to go to distance and planning, and then we're going to go on the pipeline today. I need to make sure that we're going to be good for the weather on the pipeline. So I'm just zooming into the Fraser Valley here. What I can do is I can just select our general route of where we're going to be going. So this is kind of the area that we're going to be flying in. And I'm just going to pop down here to where it shows the little VFR helicopter. And then it gives me all sorts of really neat features here, which is just absolutely awesome. Again, it's graphical. So I can start at the bottom here. I can see what my dew point spread is. And if I just pan my mouse along this trip, you can see right here that it kind of pans it along the entire trip there. And so I can see what the dew point spread is. I can see what the surface visibility is along this route, anywhere along the route. I can see what the cloud base is and the cloud tops are, which is awesome. If there's any special weather warnings or anything, it's going to show me those there. And then showing here, altitude wise, it starts at 330 feet and then it starts going up to flight level 10,000. And so it shows me what the winds are doing, shows me how dense the clouds are in those areas. So this is just absolutely fantastic. Just within a few seconds, it shows me my average route is going to be about 73 nautical miles. And so I can just pan along here. I can see what my winds are going to be at different altitudes, and then if there's going to be any major weather warnings that I need to be aware of. So this little feature is just absolutely fantastic. If you're going on a longer nav trip, really awesome as well. You could put this anywhere you want through the mountains or across the country or whatever, and it's just going to give you a really nice graphical look at what it's going to be like along this route. Okay, so one of the features that I really love is being able to jump on here, any device, whether it's an iPhone or a iPad or a computer, anything, doesn't matter. And so while we're flying, we can get real-time information. And so one of the things I'll just show you here, kind of nice, let's say you're doing a trip and you're looking at the winds where you are and you figure, okay, maybe I can get a better tailwind or something if I go up higher. So right now I'm just kind of scrolling around where we're flying here. Very light wind, 0 knots, 1 knot, so very, very light. If I jump on here, I can go to whatever altitude I want, so I'm just going to bring it up to like 6,400 feet and see if I get any better winds. And it shows me which direction the winds are coming from. So this is coming from 260 degrees, 5 knots, so getting a little bit of a headwind if I go up higher. And so we use this all the time on the Around the World trip when we were trying to figure out what altitude we should fly to certain legs at. We would check it before, and then we would check it while we're flying as well, just to see if it made any better difference, if we would pop up to maybe 10,000 feet or if we got down really low. And sometimes in some significantly long legs, it made a really, really big difference for us, even if it was only a 10 knot difference. But if we could get that 10 knot headwind to drop off to 0, or to even switch around and be a little bit of a tailwind, that was really, really nice. Okay, so another cool feature here is you can get lots of live things. If you just scroll down a little bit, let's say you want to go to reported temperatures, you can see all of the actual reported temperatures in the area here, which is really awesome to have. And then if I wanted reported winds, these are all the stations that are actually reporting winds, so I can see that. Not a forecast or anything, that's an actual live report. And then I could even jump down to webcams. Really love this one, to be able to see all the webcams in the area. I can jump onto this one here. Let's say, for example, 3 minutes ago, this is what the weather was doing in Vancouver. So really amazing to be able to have all that live report information. While I'm looking at wind, something that I find really useful as well, if you go over here and hit wind gusts, it sort of gives you what the maximum wind gust would be. And so I can pop on there, and I find that seems to be a more realistic number for what the winds are going to be around the areas that you're flying. So I can just kind of scroll around the valley here. Out in Chilliwack's about 7 knots, Abbotsford's about 5. So you can see how it popped it up about 5 knots or so from what it was before. And if you went up into the mountains, nothing serious, 6-7 knots. So it's a really great day out there today, about 10 as you get up to the north end of Harrison Lake. So that's a really awesome feature that I really love on this thing. And then something cool as well is at the bottom here, you can just scroll through the time, and so it's going to give you forecasts of winds as well, or any type of weather that you're looking for. And so I can look at later today, or I can even bump it to tomorrow or Friday, and I can see what the forecast is for the area. So if I'm looking at Friday, for example, I can see that the wind gusts are showing from the south and more like 16 knots. That's pretty significant, I would say, to be able to see that kind of difference. And then out towards Hope, 25 knots, 26 knots. So really great to be able to kind of see those differences and then see what it's going to be like in certain areas on different days. Again, on the world trip, that was just invaluable because we were able to see what days we were able to kind of plan for to cross certain areas of the water and so forth. There's some fun winds, 34 knots. So yeah, that was, I find that that's a really, really useful thing. And obviously, the longer distance you're going, the more valuable this is. But to be able to see any type of weather on the fly while you're flying is really awesome. So really, I really like that feature.
Alright you guys, so that's going to wrap up this video. This video is actually sponsored by Windy. When they contacted me, I was super stoked because a couple of years ago, if you guys remember watching our Around the World trip, we talked about Windy all the time. I would love to log how many hours we actually spent on windy.com while we were on the world tour. Is probably about the same amount of hours that we spent flying. I remember we would just pore over it for hours and hours in the evening. While we were flying, we'd be pulling up the different graphics. We would take screenshots for the areas that we had no cell service that we were going to. I remember being in Greenland, and yeah, we had screenshots when we were down at the very, very southern tip of Greenland, and we were comparing them to where the winds were supposed to stop. And so we were looking at the graphic that we had on the phone compared to where the winds were actually stopping. It was relatively close. It was a little bit. It took us a little bit longer to get out of the winds than we were expecting. But we used it so much, we relied on it so much. It's not perfect, it's like anything, weather is not perfect, absolutely, but it was really, really a helpful tool for us. So I just want to thank Windy for sponsoring this video, for being willing to partner up with me. That was really exciting to be able to do that, so thank you for that. And I just want to leave you guys with the thought that use every tool that you have at your disposal to help you make better decisions. It's I'm talking specifically about flying helicopters, but it goes to anything in life. If you can use everything at your disposal, it's going to help you make better decisions. Making better decisions is going to make us better pilots. We're going to be safer, and then that's going to be better for everybody. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe as always. So just hit that subscribe button right now. I think it's right over here. Yeah, it's right over here that you can just hit the button and subscribe. It really helps me out if you guys do that, so I would appreciate that. And we're going to talk to you guys on the next video. Have a great day. See ya.